It is 7:05, and I would like to call the Planning and Zoning Board meeting to order.
Thank you. You ready to turn it over to me?
Sure. So you'll be our acting chair, Ms. Clark.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for everyone that's here. Let me extend my apologies. I thank you for your time. The meeting is going to start at 7:06, Thursday, March 11th. Greetings to our guests and also to our visiting residents who are watching us on our Riviera Beach TV. And before we start, if you wish to speak on any item on this agenda, please complete a public comment card and provide it to the planning and zoning staff. Cards must be submitted prior to board discussion of an item. Thank you. Let us all rise for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance, and let that be led by Ms. Burgess. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now let's have the roll call of our board members, please, for attendance.
Renee Burgess.
Present.
Anthony Brown.
Present.
William Wiley.
Present.
James Gallen.
Present.
Margaret Shepard. Moeti Nubi. Evelyn Harris Clark.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Were there any unexcused absences, notifications, please?
None, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right. Let's go on to item number 4, additions and deletions to the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, would you like to continue item number 1 to your next regular meeting?
Let's go ahead and let's ask our board here. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, part of today's meeting was to move forward with a decision on the chair. Were we also going to for a vice chair as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So my question to everyone here this evening, would you like to move forward with that, or would you rather wait until we have more board members present? So I will defer all the way to my far right.
I think we should wait until we have a full board.
I think we should go ahead and do it tonight. The full board being we have a quorum, and we need a chair and a vice chair. So I think it's important that we do it tonight. Mr. Brown?
We're determining if we should wait until we have a full board on the decision or vote for the chair and vice chair.
I think we could go ahead and vote.
I agree also. We should go ahead and vote.
So does that leave it up to me in terms of a voting decision?
No, we have 3 in favor of moving forward to a vote, so what I'm hearing is that that would remain on the agenda, and I have no other additions or deletions for you.
Okay, so we have 3 in the affirmative to do it tonight.
Correct.
Okay, in that view, I will respect the member's decision, and I will ask one of our board members to please make a motion. Let's start with the vote on chair. Should we ask for nominations at this point?
Yes, if someone would like to make a motion to discuss or a motion to nominate for chairman.
I'd like to make a motion for chairperson, Mrs. Evelyn Clark.
I second.
May we have a roll call at this point?
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes, I'll vote for myself.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. Okay, and let's take on the second aspect of this evening. Let's vote for a vice chair. So I'm going to open up to the floor, and I'm going to, again, start to my far right.
I'll make a motion that, to nominate, Ms. Renee Burgess as vice chair.
Okay.
Second.
We have one nomination on the floor for Ms. Renee Burgess. Any other open nominations?
Third.
I'd like to also place Mr. William Wiley's also on the ballot as well. So now, at this point, let us have a count. Okay, is that better?
So we have a motion and a second for Ms. Burgess, and we had a motion for Mr. Wiley. Is there a second?
May I have a second, please? I'm not allowed to second, am I?
No,
I
she
didn't
isn't.
think so.
I could second for myself.
Second for yourself.
Yeah, I'll second for myself, but I agree with Mrs. Burgess. I appreciate it though, but I agree with Mrs. Burgess to be the, be second chair.
Okay, so in that view, let's have a motion to nominate Board Member Renee Burgess as Vice Chair.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark,
100%.
Renee Burgess.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. Again, any other items on the agenda?
No other changes to the agenda.
I know the changes. Okay. All right. Let's go on to, if there are no other additions to the agenda, I would like a motion to accept the agenda as is. May I have a motion to accept the agenda as is?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. Next item. Any disclosure by board members?
Madam Chair.
No, Madam Chair.
We have, okay.
On item 8, number 2 on the agenda, my company did the survey on that parcel, so I will not vote on it tonight.
Okay, thank you. We have one disclosure by one of our board members, and the agenda has been adopted already. Okay, let's go on to item 6, approval of minutes from February 25th. Those were sent to us in advance. So may I have a motion for us to approve the minutes of February 25th if there are not any discrepancies of the minutes from that point? No discrepancies? Okay, may I have a motion of approval of the minutes from February 25th?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, and roll call, please.
Anthony Brown,
Yes.
William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. Item 7, unfinished business. We don't have any, so let's go straight on to item number 8, new business. And we've already elected the chair and the vice chair, so that is complete. Let's go on to item number 2.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item, or item number 2, our first hearing tonight, I will read the resolution into the record for you. It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving plat application PA 2006 from AJP MLP Family Limited Partnership to combine 3 contiguous lots of record into 2 lots totaling approximately 4.43 acres in land area for the real properties located immediately east on North Military Trail, identified by PCN numbers 56423620000010 and 56423620000020 and 56423640000020 and providing for an effective date. So this is the Tractor Supply site, and if it looks familiar to you, you heard the site plan that went with this plat at your February 25th meeting, and you approved it. This is the location, and we'll zoom in, and you'll see this is the boundary of the 3 parcels. It's a 4.43 acre lot. And this is the site plan that you acted on, and I'm just providing it for you as a frame of reference. It is the building is going to be a 19,000 Tractor Supply building with outside storage and display. The applicant tonight is requesting a plat approval to replat the existing 3 contiguous lots into 2 lots in conjunction with the request for the site plan approval to build a building for a Tractor Supply company with outside storage, display, and sales of merchandise and parking. As noted, you approved that site plan at your last meeting. So this is the plat, and I'm just highlighting for you the 2 new property lines. It's immediately north of West Palm Beach. It's pretty straightforward. We had our peer review engineer review it. They identified no issues or concerns and said it was ready to bring forward. And with that, staff would recommend approval of the plat application PA 2006 from AJP MLP Family Limited Partnership to combine 3 contiguous lots of record into 2 lots totaling approximately 4.43 acres in land area for the real properties located immediately east on North Military Trail, identified by parcel control numbers 56424620000010 and 56424620000020 and 56424630000020. And we have the applicants with us tonight also in the audience.
Sure. Let's have the applicant come forward and introduce themselves to us again, or I should say welcome and reintroduce yourself again to us, please.
Good evening. My name is Hope Calhoun, Land Use Counsel for the applicant. You will recall, as was stated, we were here before you at your last Planning and Zoning Board meeting where we had a robust discussion, I think, about the site plan, and we referenced at that time that we would be before you at your next meeting, we were hoping, which is tonight, to discuss the plat as presented. Again, staff has reviewed our plat and we meet all the technical requirements of same. It's needed. We're proposing this for the development of our site plan. With me tonight again, our project engineer and a representative of Hicks. So we are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, terrific. So at this point, let me open up the board to questions, not only to our guests this evening, but also to staff. So I'm going to start going down the line with Mr. Gatlin. If you have any questions.
No questions.
And next, Ms. Burgess.
No questions, Madam Chair.
No questions.
No question.
Okay. May I ask staff to put the mapping of those lots there again? Okay.
The plat, this is the
Yes,
plat.
the plat, okay. I just have one question. So the configuration originally, was it 3 plats?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this is just a kind of an odd-shaped configuration because that 4th quadrant over there is owned by someone else. So the 3 plats,
It was right here,
yes.
and then it was this bottom one,
Okay.
and then this piece here was the original 3.
Okay, so it's just taking that small.
So it's
piece
really
right there
just,
and just
it's combining
bridging it into
these two
there.
together, and it's leaving this parcel down here.
Okay. And where was that easement?
There's a access easement here between the 2 properties, and that's to be recorded.
Okay, and I believe we came to an agreement on the easement. There were 2 items that were outstanding in regards to this, and that was the content on the language on art, and there was one more, I just can't recollect right now.
The board asked staff to draft 2 supplemental conditions,
Right.
and one is on the outside storage, the extent of it, and the other one had to do with hiring local residents. So it was a employment-related condition. This applicant did not participate in MEHAP, but did commit to hire locally. And staff has drafted those supplemental conditions. They would go with the site plan, and that's why they're not before you tonight, because tonight we're only looking at the plat, combining the lots.
Okay, so with those conditions, have we come to an agreement of all parties that it has been resolved, or it's still going to be with discussion with staff at a later point?
Staff has drafted the conditions and provided them to the applicant. They haven't offered any objections, but I think Ms. Calhoun wants to review them tomorrow.
Hi, good evening again. Hope Calhoun. Yes, with regard to those 2 site plan conditions, we received them today, and I just advised that I would, hearings are a problem. I advised that I would discuss it with my client, and we'll get back tomorrow, but we don't anticipate having any objections to those site plan comments.
Okay, thank you. All right. Other than that, I don't think there are any more questions, so we are going to go ahead and make a motion to accept joining all of the plats together, the parcels together, and we can keep this project moving. So I'm going to ask one of our board members to make a motion to accept the joining of all 3 parcels into 2 parcels.
Madam Chair,
Second.
I was going to state the motion, please. But yes, I move that we approve the plat application from AGP MLP Family Limited Partnership.
May I have a second?
No, a second.
May we have a roll call, please?
William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
That motion passed with Board Member Brown abstaining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if it's your pleasure, we'll move on to the next item.
Yes, please.
Thank you. The next item, it's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving site plan application SP 2025 from Florida Power and Light Company, FPL, to install an FPL solar array and battery pilot facility occupying approximately 21 acres of land area, affected area, of the total 70-acre parcel of land located immediately west of Interstate 95 with postal address 2400 Port West Boulevard, identified by parcel control number 564342310400100000, having an industrial future land use designation and a general industrial IG zoning designation, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. And with your approval, Mr. Ledger is going to present this project to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Josu Ledger for the record.
Good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Savage Dunham. Just to reiterate, the application before you is to install arrays of solar panels and batteries on approximately 21 acres in land area, which is considered the affected area of the existing 70-acre parcel owned and operated by FPNL currently. The remaining portion of the property contains several structures that currently contributes to FPNL operations. The subject property is located within the southern area of the city, immediately west of I-95, south of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, as shown here in red. The map also identified the City of Riviera Beach municipal boundaries, shown here in blue, as you could see on the screen. Historically, there used to be 2 fuel tanks within the affected area. The tanks was since demolished, and the space they previously occupied is now vacant. This area is kind of outdated. It's not yet updated by the county. The property has an industrial and a utilities land use, so it has a split land use, and it also has a split zoning. The northern portion of the property is zoned recreational open space with the pointers, as you could see, and the southern portion, which is the affected area, is zoned general industrial. Just to give you a few perspective of exactly what overlays applies to the property. You have Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard right here, which is one of our principal arterial overlays, so therefore the property is located within the principal arterial design standards overlay. As mentioned earlier, the overall lot size is approximately 70 acres. This is a few pictures showcasing the actual existing condition of the property. As you can see, the 2 major fuel tanks that used to be on the site is no longer there. This is the proposed site plan. The affected area of the site is currently vacant. However, the remaining portion of the site comprises of several existing building utility structures, as well as a 4,830,000 biodiesel fuel storage tank, as we saw earlier, which you can see here, still exists. The applicant's proposal is consistent with the industrial and utility use categories pursuant to the zoning code. 23 parking spaces is required, and the applicant is proposing 28 parking spaces. One access point to the site currently exists and will remain on Port West Boulevard, which is up here. The applicant is also proposing to relocate existing vegetations, a few trees along 95 to create some sort of visibility driving from the highway so you could actually see the proposed solar panels. In lieu of that, they're proposing to relocate those trees behind Building B, shown here, and I have an enlarged picture. So those are the trees, tree for tree, like for like, or better, that will be proposed to mitigate the fact that they're removing existing trees along 95. This is part of their proposed landscape details. City staff recommends approval with the following conditions. A 2-year landscaping performance bond for 110% of the value of the landscaping and irrigation shall be required before certificate of occupancy or certificate of completion is issued. Construction and landscaping improvement must be initiated within 18 months of the effective date of this resolution in accordance with section 31-60B of the City Code of Ordinances. Demolition, site preparation, and or land clearing shall not be considered construction. Building permit applications, associated plans, and documents shall be submitted in its entirety and shall not be accepted by city staff in a partial or incomplete manner. City Council authorizes city staff to approve future amendments to the site plan administratively so long as the site plan does not deviate greater than 5% from its original approved site plan. This development must receive final certificate of occupancy and or certificate of completion from the city for all buildings approved within 5 years of the approval of the adopting resolution, or the adopting resolution shall be considered null and void, requiring the applicant to resubmit application for site plan and special exception approval and reinitiate the site plan approval process. All future advertising must state that the development is located within the city of Riviera Beach. Fees and penalties in accordance with City Code Section 31-554 will be levied against the property owner and or business for violations of this condition. Once approved, this resolution shall supersede and any previous site plan approval resolutions associated with this property, causing previous site plan approval resolution to be null and void. The applicant shall install a mural on Building B, north elevation, highlighting the city's partnership with FPNL, written and graphic representation, and must be safely illuminated, direct or indirectly, in a manner that does not create any nuisance or hazards from glare to surrounding properties and or traffic. Content shall be as approved by City Council and installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of completion. This concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions the board may have. We do have the applicant and their team here. If you desire their presentation, I'll turn it over to them.
Sure, let's start with staff first. And I'm going to open the questions up to our board here. I'm going to start with Mr. Gatlin, and we're just going to move on down the line. So we're going to start with staff first before we bring the applicant up.
Sounds good. Thank you. No problem.
I have one question about the solar panels. I know that they're going to be, I guess, closer to I-95. So I heard you say something about that they're going to make sure that it doesn't hinder any visibility for traffic. And we need to make sure that that happens, especially on 95.
The applicant does have an analysis. They can actually elaborate a little bit more as it relates to the solar panels, any glare issues. So they can, within their presentation, give you more details as it relates to that.
Okay. That's all I had, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I just had one question. I noted that in the county's report, they just kind of stated the report appears to comply with the department's October 2019 instructions for conducting sampling during above-ground storage tank closure, and they also noted that their letter does not certify that this site is not contaminated, and that the department will reserve the right to require appropriate actions in the future. So I would like to know from the applicant about the site, and if they can tell us if that site is contaminated or not.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we have any further questions for staff before we bring the applicant up? For staff?
Well, I guess this question can't wait for the applicant to come up, I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. If we can have the applicant come forward and introduce themselves, please.
No problem. Thank you.
Good evening. John Schmidt, agent for the applicant, representing FPL. I have myself here from Schmidt-Nichols, Jordan Sperling from my office. I also have Ms. Stephanie Cole and Ms. Monica Barnes here. Stephanie Cole is the project manager from FPL, and Ms. Barnes is from their legal department. So our team's here to answer questions as we go through. And I would like to go through my presentation, and then maybe I can answer the questions at the end, if that's your liking.
Please, that's fine.
Beautiful, great.
And welcome.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to go through the first 6, 7 slides, and then I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie. She's going to show you some of the bigger efforts that are going on, and that this is an integral part in fitting into. So again, thank you for your consideration this evening. You've been through where the project is. It's highlighted in red there. The total 70 acres, 21 acres of that space being what we consider the affected area. The affected area has a land use of industrial, and it has a zoning of general industrial. So we're fitting within those standards. This is just a view that I wanted to point out here. This was an older view from 95. I haven't had the courage to stop out there and take a new picture. But these were the tanks that used to be out there. So when you're headed southbound on 95, this is the view that you would get. This tank has been removed. I think, I can't tell, that might be the biodiesel one, but the two big tanks that were oil tanks that used to be piped all the way over to the port have been removed because that's been switched to a natural gas burner over there in the past. And I wanted to bring up this building. It was the building that we're talking about in condition 7, where we're going to be putting a mural as we're working together in the partnership. The mural will be sitting over in this corner, and then we have landscape. And I've got another slide for you, but I just wanted you to see, what the visibility was on this. All right. Again, this is the site plan, the 2 affected areas, which is the solar panels in this area. We've got EV, electric vehicle charging stations here. So, and their fleet will be being charged in this area. They're also charging trailers over here. So in a storm event, these trailers will be moved out in the community and be available to charge vehicles outside as well. But when it's on site, this is not open to the public, just for them. And then this is the proposed FPL. This is a battery switching station. These are just utility boxes. There's really no structures being proposed with this other than some solar panels, these battery packs, transformers, some switching gears, and voltage regulators. And then this is kind of a parking lot here where these trailers are sit. Here it is in kind of an axonometric or bird's eye view of those areas. Again, the solar array sitting here, the battery packs over here, the switching gear, the voltage regulators, And then over here are our battery packs. You can kind of see those trailers sitting there with electric vehicles backed up to them getting a charge. And so to answer one of your questions, the orientation of these have an anti-glare placed on them. So there's no glare off those. And it was one of the items that staff had brought up there. So I appreciate that question and staff being just a little ahead of you. We did also submit environmental reports. There were multiple corings that were done throughout the site that we submitted to staff, and they found no no issues. So those staff does have those. This is a view. It's not showing up very well, but this is, again, it would be a view from, I guess, 95, the southbound. You can see the solar arrays over here, the building that we're talking about, and so that's really what you're looking at. And then this is the proposed building location that. Let me back up one here. Sorry about that. This is the building that we were talking about, and here it is in elevation. The mural will be located in this general area over here. We're providing the additional landscaping to kind of break up that side of the building, so it kind of breaks up the visibility and greens up the area from your southbound view. So I think that will be a nice transition for the site. At this point, I want to transition this over to Stephanie. And then again, we're all here to answer any questions, as we move forward. And thanks for your consideration. And Stephanie, I'll let you go here.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Cole, and I'm a senior project developer for FPL. First, I would like to give you a little background on our company and help showcase our commitment to renewables. FPL is a part of a broader company, NextEra Energy, and throughout our three smaller businesses underneath, NextEra Energy Resources, Gulf Power, and FPL, we have renewables and for wind and sun and energy storage operating in 48 states and Canada. But for FPL, our home is Florida. FPL's goal right now is to reduce our CO2 emissions rate 67% by 2025, despite the growth we are seeing in South Florida these days. FPL continues to keep our customers' bills low, lowest in the country, as it shapes Florida into a world leader in solar energy production. In 2019, FPL was ranked second among all electric utilities nationwide for interconnected solar systems, according to Smart Electric Power Alliance, and has announced plans to install more than 30 million solar panels by 2030. FPL currently operates 33 major solar plants, including 2 that feature advanced energy storage systems, in addition to hundreds of smaller solar installations throughout our territory. By the end of 2021, we will have over 3 gigawatts of solar capacity in our territory. We're already one of the nation's cleanest energy companies, but we continue to follow through on our commitment to advance affordable, clean energy for our customers. FPL was granted a battery pilot from the Florida Public Service Commissioner, and through this battery pilot, we have developed one of the most diverse battery portfolios in the country. We currently rank 4th among the U.S. utilities in energy storage capacity, and this project right here will be a part of our energy storage portfolio. The project, as mentioned by John, is to showcase our commitment to renewables. So this tank right here, let me find my pointer, is now demolished. As we've moved away from the fossil fuels, this tank's no longer needed. And with this opportunity and this perfect location, we have found the ability to add a solar array on the distribution grid. This will be the first of its kind, as it's showing a different solar panel array than we normally do, as well as it's going to be the largest solar array on our distribution grid serving the local community. The benefit for the energy storage with the solar is that when the sun is not shining, we're able to store solar energy and add it to the grid. So if a cloud were to come over the array, then the batteries would kick off and supplement the generation. And also in the evening when the sun is going down, the batteries will be used to offset and produce and put solar power on the grid. The EV trailer that was mentioned is going to be deployed. It's going to sit here at the 45th Street site, but it will be deployed and made available to the general public to use. This site is actually a private site, so it's got a badge to get on there. So it's not open to the public when it's sitting, but when we do deploy the trailer out in the community, all EV customers would be able to use it. Each trailer has about 3 battery storage systems on it and is capable of charging 12 cars at a time. We're adding 6 level 3 chargers, which are those DC fast chargers that can charge a car in about 30 minutes. And the purpose of having this trailer sit at this site is we'll be able to utilize the solar to charge the trailer. Our current timeline is we're in designing and permitting, as you see right here. And then we hope to roll into construction this July and finish up construction in December and put this system in service. Okay, that concludes my presentation. If you have any more questions, we're here.
Open floor to questions now. Let's see, Board Member Burgess, was your question answered?
He kind of alluded to it. He didn't state specifically that it was not.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
The question before
Yes.
about the contamination site.
There's no contamination. We submitted a report from Artem & Associates, and actually on page 5 of our report, we put the excerpts in there, but that's been provided, and there was multiple corings throughout the site and found no contamination whatsoever.
Okay, I was just wondering why the county just wouldn't specifically.
Yeah, you can't get them to commit to the, they're part of the removal process, but you can't get a true commitment letter. That's why we went out and did an additional corings. I've had some other projects here in town where that's been questionable. So when we were out there doing soil samples for the construction, I said, let's go ahead and run these reports. So thank you, but I have had that come up before.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go with questions. I'm going to be honest. I'm not in the electrical business, so I may ask some very naive questions.
Absolutely.
Ms. Stephanie said that this was a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to understand, why is this a great opportunity for Riviera Beach? Where has this type of installation in other nearby communities have been installed?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. If you would, please speak into the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
If I can repeat again, that this was stated that this was a unique opportunity for Riviera Beach. My question is, why is it a unique opportunity for the city of Riviera Beach as opposed to other municipalities that may have land, and where has this configuration been implemented before? And I have other questions, but let's start with that. I want our audience, especially our residents, to really understand that we're talking solar panels, we're talking the charging of vehicles with the battery, and it's here in Riviera Beach.
Absolutely.
What are the benefits? Also, let's talk about the financial benefits too.
All right. I'm gonna try to address some of them, then I'm gonna turn it over to Stephanie a little bit. So, there's only been the state's only allowed a couple of these pilot projects. So your town has been selected as one of the pilot projects to showcase this great new technology. And as we all, not Riviera Beach, I think the country as a whole tries to bring ourselves off of fossil fuels. This is why this is a great location, the location along 95 and featuring your town, the mural that we're putting up, that how we're working in tandem with one another, and the generation of the generation of electricity from this site will actually be used for, I think it's 1,100 homes within this grid. I can't. It's a rough number, yeah. It's a rough number, but electricity gathered from this site will actually be powering homes within the local grid as well. So I think that being on the forefront of this technology it's going to proliferate through the county, and you're being the project. I think that's a really neat feather in your cap.
Okay. You said this is a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been other pilots nearby? And also you mentioned that someone selected Riviera Beach. Who selected Riviera Beach?
Okay, well, I think I'll have Stephanie go in there. She knows those locations and how we got here. I think it's also a good use of land, effective use of land that's sitting there vacant now. So as we pulled ourselves all the fossil fuel and remove those tanks, the land is just kind of sitting there, not producing anything. So let's have it produce something that's meaningful and usable by everybody. So, and I'll let her turn over to those items. Thank you.
Hello. So to answer the first question you had, this is our largest solar array on the distribution grid. The other 33 sites that I mentioned are further west or in the middle of the state, and they're connected to transmission. So this will be our most east installation. And so that's one unique quality about this project, as well as the solar array is a different structure than what we normally use. And so we're testing a different array pattern. The next question is, this is a list of all of our pilots of battery storage throughout South Florida. It's mainly where we've targeted putting battery storage. So most of these projects are testing batteries in different applications, whether it's a black start or peaking capability. We do have a smaller microgrid down in Miami that we are doing, where we're helping support an engineering campus. But this will be a larger microgrid that we're utilizing, and we're also adding electric vehicles to the microgrid, unlike the FIU microgrid we have listed up here. So this system will help power this trailer in the event of a hurricane. So the solar is always shining, especially after a hurricane, and all that energy will be used to charge up the batteries on the site and the batteries on the trailer so that we can take the trailer out to the community for EV customers to charge their vehicles in the event of evacuation or when they're coming back to Florida.
When you say a pilot, it goes through various checks and balances in terms of if the pilot is going to be successful. But this project of this magnitude, it's almost that once you go into full-fledged project mode of development and it's here, it's no longer a pilot. It must work because you've invested so much money into it. So it's really not a pilot, is it? This is going to be here in Riviera Beach for a very long time with all of the FP&L investment.
Right, it's kind of confusing that I say pilot. So this overall pilot program is considered the 50 megawatt pilot program. That's what the Florida Public Service Commissioner calls it out in our rate case from 2016 in the settlement agreement. And in that settlement agreement, it states that we're to test battery storage, build our knowledge in battery storage, and test it in different applications. It has a lot of restrictions. You can't have just one project, and it has to benefit your customers and either be attached to renewables or benefit a customer, right? And all of those items is what we've taken into account here. So this system here, the batteries have a 10-year life, and the solar panels have a 30-year life. And so this system will be here. And the other purpose of the pilot is to do learnings and document learnings. So this system is going to be under the watch of our power generation division as well as our power delivery department, and we'll be seeing how it performs, how these batteries operate, how the solar looks on the grid, and taking learnings and documenting them and sending them back to the Florida PSC. The project cost is approximately $20 million. Investment. The project investment is $20 million. The batteries themselves are around 13.6. The solar is 6.7, and the electric vehicles are 0.2. And so this 5 megawatt solar array produces enough energy that could power over 1,000 homes.
So is this cost of all of the projects or just Riviera Beach?
Just the Riviera Beach.
Just Riviera
Yes.
Beach project. Well, this is a huge, big, weighty project in front of the P&Z board. I have some more questions, but I'm going to go ahead and defer down the line and open it up to the rest of the team here to ask questions.
How you doing, ma'am? First of all, I wanted to thank you for bringing this renewable energy opportunity to the city of Riviera Beach. And I think for the customers, the people who reside here in the city of Riviera Beach, I think the biggest question is going to be, I know it's going to be very beneficial for you to come here and have your project here, but I saw the numbers as far as what you've had previously and what the savings were to the people, but specifically for the city of Riviera Beach. What would our customers look at far as a discount, or will it assist in a discount on our bill for our area? Because I said you said it was 1,200 homes.
Well, so that's just on the distribution line there, overall, it goes to the general rate base as a reduction in fuel cost. It's not solar power directly going to those homes. It's going on the grid, and those grids, that same grid also supplies power to.
Got it. One more question. Also just in case, because will they be solely dependent on that, or will it be still assisted through, I'm not an engineer, I'm trying to make sure I say this correct way. Just in case something happened to where, let's say, the grid or the solar panels or something failed, what would be the recovery for the 1,100 homes that would be, that wouldn't be having any power?
So the 1,100 homes are still going to be powered from the general grid. They're not getting direct power from here. The microgrid here is only for the site equipment that's on this site, which is the biodiesel tank, the administrative building that sits there, and the warehouse. And so that biodiesel tank fills up our fleet vehicles. It's the same biodiesel the train Brightline runs on. And so those items will be in the microgrid as well as the EV trailer, not the actual homes out in the community, right? That was a mistake. Misstatement. Sorry.
Okay. That's it. I'm good.
So did I answer?
Yeah, this all sounds so awesome. I have one question for you, though. Could you identify any potential safety concerns on this project?
So all of our solar and battery sites throughout the state of Florida are monitored 24/7 through our Renewable Operations Center in Juno Beach. We use SCADA systems, our control systems, where we can look at all of our sites, see if there's any faults, any issues that we might have. And if they feel the need to shut down from a safety concern, they will shut off the system to ensure the safety of the community. As well as that, we have fire suppression systems that are commonly used in our battery facilities, which minimize the risk of a significant fire. Each storage facility is also equipped with its own air conditioning and cooling system to ensure it operates within ideal temperature ranges. And also there's a burner management system associated with each battery container that if it is to see a battery cell giving off excessive heat, it will shut down that entire rack and send out a fault code. And then for solar panels, they're made of non-combustible materials. And we work closely with local authorities to meet all permitting requirements for fire protection and safety, as well as if there should ever be a small fire associated with the equipment. The access roads are available for the fire department to get there, but this system is set up so that the fire will break and it won't kind of spread through everything, right? It'll stay centralized and contained.
I'm going to defer to my far right to Mr. Gatlin if he have questions, and we'll move down the line.
No further questions.
Madam Chair, I do have a couple of questions.
Sure.
When you say 1,100 homes on the grid, so this is not fully replacing the grids that we have in the city now. And when you say 1,100 homes, what area is that these solar panels will actually power?
So this system will be located off a feeder that comes over from the VA hospital. And so there's different feeders out of that substation, and our battery system is on the very last piece of one of those feeders. And so that feeder runs through the property, and I think there is a holiday park right there by Rapids.
A trailer park?
I think, I'm not 100%, it's by Rapids, near Rapids Water Park, and it comes through. And I think those customers are a part of it. But like I said, that grid's still staying intact as is. Our batteries and solar will just go onto that feeder.
So it's kind of going to be the western part of Riviera Beach. So like the area of the VA, Rapids, not the eastern side. Right. So kind of like where more residential homes would be, I would say. So we're going to remain on the old grid.
Well, everyone's remaining on the old grid. We're just, again, sorry, John misspoke there. So the grid is staying as is. Our equipment is coming onto and interconnecting onto the grid, and it will supply a microgrid to just the facilities on the plat and on the site plan that we showed. And so whenever you generate power, it just goes onto the grid, and it goes in any direction, path of least resistance, right? And so it'll just go and get mixed in with electrons from all over the place that we put on the grid and just kind of combine.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get at, as a resident, you know, I've lived here a long time, and, you know, after a hurricane, you know, this city has been without power for up to 2 weeks. So by us having this grid in our immediate vicinity, is that going to increase our chances of getting our power back sooner than anyone else, because the panels are located within our city?
As long as the lines are safe, then we put the solar back on the grid. As soon as the lines are restored, and if there's a, you know, you don't want to energize a down line and then a lineman come and work on it. And so as long as the grid is up and running and safe to operate, we would be supplying power to the residents.
Would this be a cause for any power outages while this work is being constructed?
No, there'll be no impact to any power.
We've had a couple of power outages in the city recently, myself included. And then the other question is, you mentioned with the trailers, you said they could charge up to 12 vehicles at a time, and that you could take those trailers out into the community.
So
like
in the event,
how do you decide like which areas you take the trailers out to?
so one of the items we've looked at is, you know, evacuations. And so if there's a hurricane coming towards South Florida and a lot of people are being asked to evacuate, we would take the trailer a little further north per se, so that when those vehicles leave their homes and they're on their way out of the state or on their way to Orlando and they run out of charge, there's not a backlog of people waiting to use chargers that we already have installed permanently. So this trailer will come and sit next to those, and the customers would be allowed to use those as well. It kind of just adds more capacity at the EV stations and gives you 12 more spots.
Will you charge for that, or will that be free?
It's all a part of our EV program, and so, yeah, it'll loop into the same program that our current chargers we have out there are.
Okay, and the last question, do you have an example of what the mural will look like?
We do not at this time. We're still working on that. One thing we do know is we went back and forth a little bit with, do we use the city seal or do we just use the name of City of Riviera Beach? And so we're going to use City of Riviera Beach with an approved symbol that we were told. And right now that's a starfish we're leaning towards. And then plus FPL, and then some tagline about how we're working together for a cleaner future. And so I will be able to supply those before the next before the city council hearing. But right now at this time I do not have that.
Thank you. Those are my questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that I'm clear, that I'm feeding off Board Member Burgess' question. For the residents of Riviera Beach, there isn't a direct benefit in a sense that this pilot will feed off of the grid. It's sounding to me that this is more of a branding benefit for the city of Riviera Beach. And of course, the vehicles that will be charged up will be deployed in certain areas so that if there perhaps is some sort of bad weather conditions and people are stranded, they can get themselves charged up. And I think you may have mentioned a fee, I'm not real sure. But I just want to understand that the houses you spoke about are on the grid. They'll remain on the grid. This project is just feeding off of the grid, but there isn't any direct benefit to the residents and the city except branding, partnership.
Majority of that's correct. So as we add more solar on the grid, we reduce the amount of electricity we get from our fossil fuel plants, and that's a lower gas charge. So over time, as we add more solar, so this will go into our solar bucket.
Lower for who?
Everyone, the entire rate.
Everybody who's
Everyone in
FPL bill.
the FPL territory, correct. And that's done through the rate case. But yes, as we add more solar, that's the benefit of solar, right? You reduce your fuel charges.
Right. I just want to be very clear so that when people are looking at this meeting and they're listening, that they have a really good, clear understanding. And that's why I'm asking the questions and just trying to do a deep dive. So you've explained that everybody benefits FP&L who has a bill, primarily for the city of Riviera Beach. It is a branding benefit, and of course the partnership to, really showcase this project will be between FP&L and our city council. You spoke earlier about the recreational space, and that was kind of glossed over a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about this recreational space? I think it's vacant. Is it going to continue to be vacant?
Yes, that's not changing. That is staying as is.
And when you say, is it recreational space because of the zoning codes?
It's the zoning, correct.
Okay.
It's just
okay.
the zoning on that.
Just the zoning on that?
On that piece of property. We haven't, we're not developing that, but it does have a recreational open space zoning category. I think it's zoning category.
Okay. All right. I'm going to defer to my left for any further questions, gentlemen.
No more questions.
I have one more question, Madam Chair.
Sure.
I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm going to ask it, because again, it's being built in Riviera Beach, and it seems like it may be some type of specialty or skill set to construct this facility. Yes, no?
Well, we go out for bid, and we use contractors for that. And so, yes, they do go out for jobs, but I'm not too sure of that whole process.
Okay.
But it is a job opportunity.
Gotcha.
For work.
Because we do have a local union here in Riviera Beach. So I know a lot of union workers look for opportunities as well. So just wanted to put that out there.
Whether it's this project or other projects of this nature, if they're close to residential homes, have you solicited just opinions or education with the people in the area? I mean, we have it right here, but not all of our residents see the P&Z board, and next thing they know, this is going to be there if they happen to miss this meeting and they happen to miss the city council meeting when this comes before the council. So what educational marketing do you do just to let people know what is going up and why?
I'll try to answer this. So as part of their utility agreement, you'll see advertising for FPL on TV. So there are ads that are out there. We don't really have in this area of the country, we really don't have a choice. So when FPL advertises, you really don't, you have FPL choice, but you don't have a B choice. So the utility, the state utility makes them advertise, and through that is there a public outreach. So I don't know if you've seen some of these ads, but they talk about, how they're, some of the slides that she pulled up are right from that how they've dropped their, fossil fuel use and how they're bringing the solar up onto the grid. I've seen those ads on TV, but that's some of the outreach I know that they do. There's some billboards around as well, but that's really kind of the extent of it. And in this particular case, this is the recreational space that you were talking about. That's not within our affected area there, where all the trees and stuff are. I guess where we're doing these solar arrays really isn't by any residential homes, but I understand what you're saying. But there's an overall community outreach throughout the whole state, and that advertising that they have to spend.
Right. It's very broad. If it doesn't really touch me, then it's not really on my radar. Mm-hmm. But here, because this is pretty much in our city, and if you're going to obviously do this, it would be great that in our FP&L bills that we see some sort of collateral that talks about this project and why it's here in Riviera Beach. Again, not everyone will watch this meeting, not everybody will watch the city council meeting, and the only thing that they know is that this massive project and construction is going on and not really have an understanding why. But, that would be great if it was some sort of, what can I say, granular marketing versus macro, that if it doesn't touch you specifically, well, you don't pay attention to it.
Sure, and part of your condition number 5, whenever this is featured, we have to, identify that this is located in Riviera Beach.
And
I'm sorry. So also as one of your conditions, number 5 in the conditions of approval, whenever this site is shown, in those educational ads, we're required to identify that's in Riviera Beach. I just want to let you know that there's some sureties in there that's getting out there to people as well, and as well as the mural, working together. And so I hope that answers your question.
I would hope that our audience who's viewing on Riviera Beach TV or even YouTube, that share this to their neighbors, so that the word will get out. So I'm just asking the City of Riviera Beach residents who's watching to share this meeting with everybody that they know. So that's what I meant by also getting granular. So go ahead.
Can I just add one thing? So the tanks that used to be there were very, very visible from 95. They were very tall, if you remember. And so as you see here, both of these tanks are now gone, and we're replacing them, with very low to the ground solar panels. These sit about 7 feet high, so they're not very in your face anymore, and the battery containers as well are about 7 to 10 feet high. So it's 7 to 10 feet high, whereas the tanks were extremely a lot taller than that, 40 to 50 feet tall. So this is a lot more low profile than what used to be out in this site. And also we are surrounded as John said, by a lot of customers that are C&I customers, as well as our own FPL site is to the west of the canal. So there's not a lot of neighbors on the road that will be affected by any construction traffic into this site.
I'm going to ask the board, do we have any further questions before we move on to a motion? All right, I'm going to ask a member of our board to make a motion to accept the applicant's proposal as presented.
So moved.
May I have a
Second.
You can do it one more time.
I second.
Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, was that second by Mr. Wiley or by Mr. Gallen?
Second by myself, by me.
Okay. Thank you. Anthony Brown,
Yes.
William Wiley,
Yes.
James Gallen,
Yes.
Renee Burgess,
Yes.
Evelyn Harris Clark.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
I hope we weren't too tough on you. I hope we weren't too tough on you, but we just wanted to really have an education on a project of this nature, and just to make sure that when people go back and take a look at this particular P&Z meeting, that hopefully we flushed all of their questions out.
No, thank you very much for your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
Is it possible that you, like I said, for your area to be able to send out like a pamphlet or something like that in the mail, to be able to, like you said, you know, give a little further education to the people in the area, so like you said, they'll be able to identify what's going on and what it is and how it affects us?
I think we could look at doing some type of, sometimes when we do the public meetings, we send out, we'll pick a radius and send that out. If that's something that you're asking us to do, we can look into doing that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So you're concerned, you're saying, you're asking if we could do some further education to some of the surrounding neighborhoods?
Right, just
Correct.
to piggyback off what Ms. Burgess said,
Sure.
just to say that, you know, again, we want to educate the people in the city, and I think that's, you know, probably a good way of doing that also, you know.
Stephanie, is there any is there like one-page cut sheets or something, or, you know, like a bifold that we could send out in a mail?
Right.
Okay. So typically we'll go to the property appraiser's office and we get the mailers for everybody within,
Right.
500 feet.
Right.
If that's something you'd like us to do, I think we could, accommodate that and send those out. And we could probably get it done between now and, the city commission. So if they have additional questions, they can come to the city commission hearing.
That'd be
Sure.
beneficial.
All right?
We're speaking true partnership, so
Okay.
education is very important.
Okay.
Especially since we here as a body, we were probably, hopefully, asking the same type of questions that a resident would
Absolutely.
ask.
Right.
And not that I'm an electrical engineer by trade at all, but I kind of understand, and hopefully, documentation will help our residents and business people understand further, because again, it could be that someone could get the misinterpretation that their bill might go up.
Sure.
Or that they are no longer on the grid, that they're now on solar. So that's why it's very important to get this type of communication out, working in conjunction with our elected officials as well as our municipal staff, rather.
Okay. And we'll make sure that we, verify this and work with staff as we send those out. All right? All right. Great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take care of it. I
Thank
appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on to the next item is workshop items. We talked a little bit about that last meeting. Is that still in progress of being developed?
Yes, ma'am. We are talking about training and workshop items, and this kind of crosses over into an item further down the agenda. We're putting together a survey that we'll be sending out to the board, because as we talk about a workshop and training and a curriculum, we also want to make sure that we serve you and we address things that you may want to hear more about or talk about. So while we may have thoughts about what would be beneficial to have a workshop about, we'll be sending out a survey to the board members, and we'll be asking you for your guidance and what you desire. And then between the two, we think we can craft a really beneficial program. It may be more than one night. We're not quite there yet, but we are working on it, and we do desire your input. So stay tuned, and we'll send you out something to tell us what you want, how we can serve you.
Okay, great. Hopefully that'll be real soon, because we've been waiting a couple of years here, maybe some of us longer.
Oh, it won't be another year. It will be very soon, ma'am, I promise.
Okay, all right. We're going to go to general discussions, and I am going to gather, since there's no one else here, we do not have public comments. Okay. Any correspondence?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And planning and zoning board comments. And let's start with Mr. Gallen.
I have no comments.
I would just like to remind all of the property owners in the city that this is the last month to pay your property taxes. Please pay those taxes on or before March 31st. And also be aware that there is an installment payment plan, not for 2020 taxes, but for 2021 property taxes that you can sign up for until April 30th. And what that payment plan does is breaks the property tax payments up into 4 payments instead of one lump sum. Normally, if you pay the taxes in full in November, you receive a 4% discount. Right now, we're at the end of property tax season. We're in March. There is no discount in the month of March. So thinking about your next year's taxes and you've had trouble this year, then you may want to look into signing up for the installment payment plan. So I just wanted to put that information out there for our residents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Board Member
Oh,
Burgess.
sorry, Madam Chair. I didn't say where you need to do that at. You do that to sign up for the installment payment plan. You can go to the Palm Beach County Tax Collector's website at www.pbctax.com.
Thank you. We are working for the city of Riviera Beach. Mr. Wiley?
No questions.
No comments.
All right. Well, without any other further business, would someone make a motion to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Oh my God, what a long day.
Was that on the sheet that you had given us and that was scheduled?
Do something special.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
Do you want your Bible back?
Oh, I took, that's. Let's go.
Mary, right?
What'd you say?
Thanks. Good job. Good job. So remember,
We had a really good
no, and I'll make your Bible, but we'll sing it every time it comes.
meeting.
I'll